Welcome to Talking Greatness. I'm your host, J.O. Stacks. We have a very special guest in the building here today, Ray The Nihilist.
What's up?
What's going on, my man?
Not too much, man.
So we'll just gotta get straight into it, and let's tell the people what you're all about, where you're from, and yes, give us that your backstory.
Cool, yeah. Ray The Nihilist, from here in Saskatoon.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm a pretty boring person, man. There's not too much you really want to know about me, I guess. Just make music and
nice.
Kind of hang out, do my thing.
How old are you? I know you're kind of younger
19,
cat.
yeah.
19, so you're fresh in the game.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just started probably about 8 months ago.
Okay.
Something like that.
So I guess how would you describe your music?
I don't know. See, I like to I'm really I don't believe in genres at the same time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So kind of I came from working in a metal band too, right? So
okay.
I was a vocalist too, so I'm just really open to a lot of music. So I kind of just try to incorporate anything I can feel is right, but it's mainly just I guess hip hop and R&B kind of thing.
I think that's good as an artist because I kind of no limitations. I know there's a lot of artists out there who classify themselves as hip hop, so they get stuck in that the typical drugs, money, and bitches kind of thing.
Definitely.
So I like that you kind of have the metal side because that opens it up to so many different angles.
Yeah, the metal genre too is really an outspoken kind of thing. They're really for the little person, I guess.
Right.
So that's kind of what I wanted to do when I switched into rap, I guess. Too.
Nice.
So I wanted to have a story behind everything.
Okay.
Not just bitches and money.
Exactly. So then, did you actually played you play an instrument then?
Drums, fucking guitar, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, so a little bit of everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So then that's actually, I think that plays a big key in it. Because now because I know a lot of people in the hip-hop game, they don't know any instruments. They just put on a beat and they rap.
Yeah. See, that kind of it did help for me just playing instruments and stuff.
Right.
And making music, because I kind of knew how you want stuff to sound. But at the same time, too, when I came into rap, I didn't know what I was doing. There's guys be like, so you know what bars are? You know how to count bars? I was like, no.
So what's a bar, man? What's a bar,
I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it did kind of give me some tips here and there, but.
So I guess the musician part probably plays a lot, because I know you make beats as well, correct? Yeah. Is that, you do a lot more live instruments, or kind of a little bit of everything you said?
Yeah, pretty much a little bit of everything. It kind of depends on what I feel like working with, if I want raw drums, or if I want just sounds, or anything, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess the question that kind of comes to me is, what inspired you to make that change? Because actually, I know back in the day, I was actually a big Metallica fan. Yeah. My older cousins, they're heavy into heavy metal. Yeah. And then I don't even know what it was, but just one day I was like, hey, I like hip-hop now. So what was the moment for you,
I guess for me, growing up, my mom, she always had me into a diverse taste of music, basically. But the one day I kind of just the band wasn't really working out. The guys weren't putting in as much effort, and now it's just I don't know, kind of feeling a little something else, and switched up. I wanted to do some solo stuff. Right. Kind of ended up here, I guess. So working out.
Nice. So then you have your production company, I believe, right? So it's what, Positive Reality Production, correct?
Yeah.
So is that more of a solo thing? Are you working with other artists?
That's I guess you could say we're an independent label team.
Okay.
We're also trying to bring out some clothes. So there's other artists in there at the moment that kind of getting their game together.
Right. You want to give them any quick shout-outs? Or?
Shout out to Lomi Tremaine, Optic, John, Coda, all those guys.
Right. So I'm assuming those are guys same age, kind of grew up with?
Same age, yeah. Not grew up with, kind of just I found them and linked up with them, asked them to be a part of something more, and they were definitely game for that.
Nice.
So that kind of having that equal effort, doing a group thing again was really good for me.
I'm assuming all local guys as well.
Yeah. More, kind of real low-key local guys too.
And then is it one of those things where you have kind of a diversity in your style, or you guys kind of have all one unique style, or is it kind of all everywhere?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say, we do have different styles, but we kind of also click at the same time,
right.
So it just kind of worked out. For sure.
So different styles that come together to make one solid team.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Which is, I think, the important thing.
Right. And then I guess what do you guys kind of have in the works as of right now?
I guess I could say our clothing's dropping, probably about June 20th. Tons of mixtapes.
Nice.
Got my producer up in BC, he's working on his own tape right now. Other producer here is working on a beat tape. I got my other guy there who's got his mixtape probably finished up. I'm waiting to get that back. I'm working on mixtape and
Okay.
stuff like that. So,
So basically, your team is just putting in work.
basically, that was the
Yeah.
plan from the start too. I kind of like told them, I was like, you know, guys, like, let's bring shit out constantly all
Exactly.
summer, right? And just like have a good summer, keep bringing stuff out, because that's to me like during the winter I kind of fell off with my music
Yeah.
and shit, right? Just because no one was vibing good like shit, and then in the summer kind of like it takes off more. Everyone's always listening to music,
Yeah.
always happy, always in the sunshine, stuff like that.
And that's a tough thing, you know, as an artist, it's, life gets in the way, you know, you got to pay
Definitely,
the bills, so
man,
it's,
yeah.
even too, probably some of your homies, I'm assuming, get into relationships, they don't have as much time for, the dream itself, right?
Yeah,
so
it's hard to keep balance on that. For
yeah,
sure.
because, it's not a cheap, thing to do, that studio time, even your time yourself, like
Yeah.
it's, it adds up and people don't really realize how much actually goes into it, which is like, with this podcast, every time I interview someone, I like to put that out there. It's like, it's a lot of hard work that
yeah.
goes unseen, so
Yeah. It doesn't even have to do with the money. Like my first mixtape there, when I
Yeah.
dropped it, I made it like 20 days or something like that.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm gonna put something out, and I got to do this. I think I had it done in like 11 days.
Nice.
But I was just like, sorry, what was I saying? My ADD there.
Your mixtape, you could put 20 days.
There's a point to it though.
You kind of rushed it out just to get it out there.
No, I lost it, man.
Oh, okay.
I lost that. Solid point there. Forget your question.
I think it's one of those things, though. I kind of see what you're saying. It's like, that first one, it's like,
I remember it.
okay.
I told her that's my bad. So yeah, no, like it doesn't like with my first mixtape, I didn't even put any money into it, right? It was
Right.
just kind of recorded in my garage or in my basement, kind of thing, which I still do. But for me, like it was more of like the hard work that I put into it.
Right.
So like at that point too, I don't know. I'm like a really experimental, creative person. When I get like that, I can't stop.
Yeah.
So I wasn't eating. You know what I mean? I wasn't sleeping properly. I wasn't like doing anything. And by the end,
You were
of it,
literally
I
a
was-
starving artist.
yeah, just drained, man. And I even had to like take a week off with making it and go to Pike Lake because I had a family reunion up there. But they were telling me like you can stay in. I was like, no, I gotta I need this. I gotta go by a lake and
Exactly.
relax.
Sometimes, you just exert yourself so much. It's like you just need to get away from the music.
Definitely.
And just like restart your brain pretty
Yeah.
much.
Well,
Come back
even-
a new look at it. And,
outlook. Yeah, even like after that, I don't think I'd ever do something like that again.
Yeah.
It was so stressful and so like, bleh. Now when I kind of work, I just like to relax and keep low key, kind of go into the back.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. There is like in the business side of it. So it's like, hey, we need to hit these deadlines, but at the same time, you can't force creativity.
Yeah,
like
see-
that's when you kind of get a subpar project.
Yeah,
So.
I agree with you. That's why I don't really like setting myself with deadlines up.
Yeah.
I think I just kind of be like, it's gonna come out around this time. And
Yeah.
once it's actually like finished, and I can give it like a 2-week listen and just like listen to the stuff over and over and over again.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is what I want. Then I'll have a solid release date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a double-edged sword. 'Cause actually, I've managed some guys, like some projects where it's like, okay, we need to have a new track out, like done, recorded every single week, and it worked out because it pushed the project on time, and but at the same time, there was some tracks where it's like, okay, maybe we should have stepped back a little bit, give it extra couple weeks, and let the creativity flow a little bit better. But that's like the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, right? So. It's definitely an interesting industry that we're in. That's why I love, sitting down with new people to kind of get the different viewpoint on that. And
Yeah. Especially Saskatoon too. We got like bomb-ass local artists.
Yes,
And these
exactly.
Cool personalities too. It's just I feel like honestly, if the local artists in Saskatoon were on a bigger scale, it's
exactly. So we have the talent. It's just the market is so small.
Right,
Like
yeah.
again, it's a couple of people I work with. They always kind of get discouraged. It's like everyone. Especially in hip-hop, it's like they want to put a song out and they want 1 million views.
Yeah, instantly.
Because they're comparing themselves to, the guys that are coming out to L.A., New York. But you got to really put into consideration that a person in New York, the hip-hop market there is probably the size of Saskatoon itself. Like there's probably over 250,000 hip-hop fans in New York alone.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in New York, man.
Yeah, and if you scale it to Saskatoon, well, maybe like 3,000 actual hip-hop listeners. So it's like... You can't compare the two.
Yeah.
You got to definitely get out there and scale it up. And
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I remember being like gas drop off 200 views.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That was me. I was never trying to focus on like 1 million views.
Yeah.
I was always just trying to make music to make music, man.
I think that's your advantage then, because like again, people are trying to to become famous.
Yeah.
You're more focused on the art of it, and that's what will prevail in the end, right? So.
Yeah, definitely. Because I agree. Like, I think too, it's kind of good. Like, I kind of look up to all these guys, like, you know, Kendrick and J. Cole and all those guys. You know, it's like the bummier they look, the better they get. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can tell that they figured out the money and the fame and shit like that. It's not what it's about. You know what
exactly. You follow the art, and the money will follow.
Yeah,
you know, unless you're whack, and you know.
Yeah.
But there's whack artists who make a lot of money, so it's.
There's quite a few of those.
Yeah.
Especially coming out lately.
Yeah, so, you know, they put out a shitty song and it gets views because it's shitty. It's like,
it's the beat, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard. It's definitely. It probably pisses off an artist like you who actually like has the passion. It's like an actual art piece, and then these guys are blowing up off of shitty music.
Kinda, yeah. Like I guess some people, like, you know, like if there's like some artists, I'm just like no. But then there's like, so like say like Post Malone, there, like I didn't fuck with the guy for so long.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's another trap artist. He's stupid and blah blah blah. And I found him randomly on YouTube, and the guy's doing a Bob Dylan cover.
Yeah.
I find out, right, the guy plays like guitar, and the guy produces his own beats.
Exactly.
The guy's actually an artist. So I was like, whoa, this is cool. So there is some of those artists that like they are kind of trash, and that's just what they are. But then there's a lot of those artists too that I feel like kind of swept under the rug. You know what I mean? Because they do put in the work.
Post Malone's actually a perfect example of that. It's like, you know, because you have that first image, you know, you see the one track that blows up, and you're like, oh yeah, he's just but then you actually hear that he's actually an artist. He's actually playing the music, and that's like I guess what you say, you can't judge a book by its cover.
Basically,
I say Post Malone's actually an ugly ass cover. Let's just say that he's ugly. He's ugly that one, you know. But the dude's talented.
That was him, though.
Oh, in a heartbeat, I'll take his ugly ass life over mine any day, you know.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
So now I just want to get into the name.
The name itself.
Ray the Nihilist. It's funny too. It's like first time I heard that, I thought of Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. That's pretty cool.
They're fucking nihilist, dude.
Nihilist, actually, yeah. I fucking research this shit. I feel real cool. Nihilist, actually, nihilism itself is the rejection of any religious or moral principles, kind of. It's actually like extreme skepticism that life doesn't happen to me.
Exactly.
So, like when I said like I switched over from metal, so when I first started to do that, I was kind of like looking at where I was at my point in life.
Right.
And at that time, I just like, you know, was really depressed, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stuff, and it's just like life's going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, life's kind of meaningless. I was looking at all these guys too that people look up to, you know, there's like Tyler the Creator, Chance the Rapper, or there's this like poet named Trey the Ruler, you know, and they're all positive things.
Right.
Kind of. So it's like I want something. For one, too, like when I have like something like that, so say like my depression and stuff, if something's bothering me, I'll put it right out in front of me, right there, so that I can kind of handle it. So I kind of chose that like nihilist name to be like, no, this is what you are, but this isn't also like who you want to be. You know what I mean? I kind of wanted to show myself that like I could grow from being that nihilist to something else with music, you know, with whatever it could be.
So, do you actually consider yourself an actual nihilist?
Anymore? No.
So you moved on from that.
Yeah, see, so I guess the goal kind of made its way there, and we're all good.
Yeah. So I guess I was kind of thinking about it before that you came here. I was like, on a world scale, wouldn't you think that the world would be in a better place if everyone was actually a nihilist? Because you have so much shit going over religion, things like that. It's like, man, if we just all just said fuck and let's not worry about that shit, I think the world would probably be a better place. Would it not?
I guess so, because at the same time, though, too, like, nihilism is almost like pessimism, so it's
That's
like,
true.
if everyone was, like, fucking pessimist walking around all negative, it kind of sucked.
That's true, and then everyone's like, life is meaningless.
But yeah, I don't know, the world's got to change somehow, man.
Because, you know, I'd say that probably violence would go away if everyone had that viewpoint, you know.
Just didn't care. Yeah, probably.
But, so you say you're no longer a nihilist. So do you have do you have any religious beliefs, or is it kind of...
No, still no.
Yeah.
But it's more for me, like, you know, I kind of came up from that depression kind of thing, you know, now I'm doing more positive things.
So the nihilist is title only.
Yeah, it's just a title at the moment.
Yeah. I like kind of how you said it kind of grew from your metal stage, and I'd say a lot of metal people are probably nihilists, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, that's... So I think that if people were more nihilists in the world, it might change things, but that's just me. I don't want to go too crazy on that. But so another question I have for you is, who would you look up to on an artistic standpoint? Because, you know, there's so many different artists, and you said you have different backgrounds and you don't group yourself into one genre, who would be like your guy? Like, I want to be my art to be like his.
Are we talking like influence or like
Yes,
inspiration?
yeah.
So
I guess
influence,
both.
Because to me, there's a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you hear like influence, that's like, oh, so like my music kind of sounds like I'd say Logic is kind of like my influence.
Right.
On
Okay.
music, right? So I kind of got that same sound. But if there's like an inspiration in me, that's where it kind of more comes into with what you're asking. Like people like that, it's like Kendrick, kind of just for the or Chance the Rapper too. You know, for the people they are, the things they do for their community,
right?
Kind of thing. That's more of what inspires me and stuff like that, right? Like I want to be more of an activist for stuff than just known as some musician or something. And
that's crazy. Kind of go on the Chance thing. He's actually opened it up to independent artists. Like he's fully independent, and it's like a month ago he donated $1 million to Chicago schools, and then the Chicago Bulls actually added in another $1 million to match that. And it's like, I definitely have so much respect for someone like that. So I kind of like that's someone who inspires you, you know, because that's the art is one thing, but if you actually do something, change the world, that's kind of like the big goal, you know?
Exactly.
More than the money, right?
Yeah, definitely. So that's where, like I was saying, there's a difference between influence and inspiration.
Right.
So definitely, kind of more influences, I guess. There's like, you know, Kurt Cobain, I guess too.
Okay.
He's always played a big part. Kind of got that from my mom.
Right.
And that guy too, or you know, people like John Lennon, I guess too, real peace activist guys, the real kind of lonely guys in the back. Something about those people have always kind of touched my heart a little bit, you know, something about them, man. But especially Kurt Cobain. Yeah. There's just something about that guy.
I guess that kind of goes into it, the kind of concept of this podcast is like those guys, those guys are the definition of greatness in themselves, you know, like, but that kind of, my question would be, what is your kind of standard for success? Like, what do you think as, like, from an artistic standpoint, my greatness is defined by what? What would define your greatness when it comes to music?
My greatness? I don't know if I'm too great, but I think like my success, I guess, too,
What would be your standard? Like, what would you say, like, okay, I've achieved a level of greatness?
I think kind of like anything that brings like a feeling inside, you know, where I feel accomplished or I feel happy that I did this or anything, that's my kind of like greatness to me. That's where I feel. Or even like, you know, when people actually say, there's been a couple people messaging me about my song lyrics and be like, oh, this song actually helps me out. And that is like my greatness.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's my success. That's all I really need.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be out there trying to make money and stuff, and like, don't get me wrong, it's cool.
It's all, you know, it's you gotta pay the bills, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'd much rather just be happy, being me, and doing my thing, and making sure other people are happy. It's
actually kind of crazy too. I don't think a lot of like upcoming artists really realize the power they have, because I manage NJ there, and I think it was a month ago. He got a message on his Facebook page, and this kid, I think he's down in it's Illinois, and saying how his music stopped him from killing himself.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think, you know, a guy coming up, like I said, we're upcoming, does have millions of views. So we're thinking, you know, it's like, you know, people listen to the song, but they won't really put in consideration. It actually, like, it literally saved a life. You wouldn't think at that level. So it's like, you can change one person's life no matter what size you are when it comes to your career, right?
Definitely, yeah. And I agree with you on that, because like I said, listening to metal and stuff, there's so many underground bands and other stuff too, but I can definitely say that a lot of those people helped me through some crazy times, you know what I mean? So I know what you're talking about for sure. I think, like, we as artists do have a really, people hang on our word.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we have a voice for other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, again, I hope more up-and-coming artists realize their power. So I think people just, again, they don't feel that their voice is being heard, even though they're putting it out there. But like, so you only need to change one person's life to have an impact on the world. And that, again, I think that's kind of the end goal with kind of what you were saying is your music actually making a difference in the world, right?
Yeah,
so that's
an impact. Not even just my music, but you know, like me as a person.
Yes.
You know what I mean, too. Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say something. ADD kicks in again.
Yeah. So is there anything else like you want to kind of touch base on this episode? You know, this is you. You gotta sell yourself to the people right now, bro. Any other projects that we should know about, or?
I actually got my new tape coming out. It's a pretty big one.
Oh, there we go. 'Cause when's that coming out?
It was supposed to be aiming for like the end of March, but it's a lot bigger than anything else I've ever done. So I'm really trying to sit down with it and figure out what I want to do with it and just like make sure everything's perfect.
Yeah. Does it have a working title? Does it have a name? Or?
Yeah. It's called Basement Diaries. It was actually inspired by. Have you ever watched the movie The Basketball Diaries? Yes. So that's what it is inspired by. Not so much inspired by, but it's a concept album. So it's narrated with scenes of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
But at the same time, I made those scenes kind of what's the word? Represent something, mean something to me. You know what I mean? Like it has something to do with the song, so it also tells my story as well. As that.
Okay.
So it's like I said, it's a concept album, so it's a lot more story behind it and artistic.
I love concept albums because again, it's easy to put 15 random songs together, but if you have each song playing together and it's like, are you going to be doing like a visual kind of storyline to it, or is it going to be just kind of like a music video here and there kind of thing?
I was hoping to do that same thing last summer too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, I'd like to kind of like it's up here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it'll ever get put in the works.
Right.
Kind of want to try working on a documentary this year though.
That'd be dope.
Something like that, some sort of visual kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure. Some sort of film.
And then with that project, is there how would I say a specific sound? Because there is a concept to it, so it's like. Is there any genre you can label that as other than hip hop? Kind of like a subgenre.
Not really. It is a lot different than the other stuff I've released.
Okay.
It's a lot more kind of like a straightforward rapping hip hop kind of thing.
Yeah.
More of that, like I wanted to actually get my bars on par. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. But it's also like at the same time, there's a lot less like wordplay, rhyme scheme kind of put in.
Right.
It's a lot. Just I wanted to put it out there as blunt as I could, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's not much different than anything else. Too much. There's some differences that you could expect, kind of thing, but I would say too much. It's like trap beats and other things, new things. I'm definitely bringing in some more.
So the album is done, or is there still work to get? Because I know you're planning for March, but we're kind of past that. Is it done? Is there more work to do, or
it's basically done? I mean, there's like a couple tracks, a couple verses to write on some of the tracks.
Right.
There's maybe one full song to complete. There's one that I gotta wait for the feature to come back for, kind of thing. But like on the album artwork and everything's basically done.
Okay.
Kind of stuff.
So it's just the final touches. Waiting for that cherry on top is what you're really going for.
Exactly.
So I guess timeline June, July, August kind of thing. I'm assuming it kind of sounds like
aiming for June.
Yeah. Actually, that kind of thing on top of my head. It'd be kind of good to go side and side with your clothing line there.
Yeah. Actually,
so June 20th now.
June 20th.
So is that that clothing line then?
Yeah.
Is that like the Positive Reality brand itself, or is there like a brand behind that?
No, that's Positive Reality.
Okay.
Actually, this kind of thing. It's just like it's like since I was like 16 too, I wanted to make like a clothing brand kind of thing too, and I was just like, oh well, if I'm gonna start this, man, why don't I bring out merch? And I was like, oh, if we're gonna bring out merch, why don't we just turn this shit into clothes?
Yeah.
People can buy our clothes, and like I'm kind of aiming to do the whole Kanye West thing and actually design stuff, rather than just logos on a T-shirt. But
exactly.
But we'll work our way there. Yeah.
And that's a beast in itself. But so I'm assuming with the name. The goal is most likely to be a positive brand to promote positivity. It's a safe bet to assume that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because not only, like I said, right, like I just want to spread positivity with music, but at the same time too, like I'd also like to do things in there with like inner city schools or kind of like stuff like that, things that I feel like would need positivity.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the world needs positivity.
Yeah. And I'm all for that. I'll definitely buy some shit because I'm a big believer that, we have the opportunity to promote positivity, and that's such a key element to the world. That's how we save the world, spreading love like that. And
love and peace.
Again, it's one of those things. It's you put some inspiration on a T-shirt, it can actually have an impact on people. It changes your mind frame when you read it, right? So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that line come out.
I am too, bro.
So you said June 20th. The Positive Reality clothing brand will be out.
Aiming for that, yeah. But it's probably somewhere in 20th to 27th.
Yeah.
Within that week, though, for sure.
June 2017. We'll go with that.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I'll be one of the first people to pick up some merch. So let me know when it's ready to go, and we'll get that done. So I don't know. We actually covered a lot. I don't know if there's anything else you want to kind of go over, let the people know about.
Unless you're spitballing topics, man, I haven't got much.
Oh, I can spitball with the best of them, but
go for it.
No, you put me on blast now. So I can't even say. I'm talking shit. I'm talking myself up. But so I guess we'll wrap that up then, because I think we got a good chunk. I think it represents who you are. It's like first time actually sitting down with you, and I have I think a good judgment of your character now. And I kind of said I really appreciate what you're doing, kind of again trying to spread positivity and things like that. So
thank you, man.
I will definitely help out in any way I can.
Cool.
So if there's any last shout outs you want to give out.
Still to the Positive Reality Boys. One to my mama, one to my grandma, one to my grandpa. All those
I
guys.
can't forget
family,
the grandparents.
Definitely not.
So again, that's it for this episode of Talking Greatness. We will, where can they find you actually?
Facebook.com/Ray The Nihilist. And that's got everything, SoundCloud, Instagram, all that good stuff on there.
So I'm assuming everything Ray The Nihilist.
Yeah, anything, any social media.
So just remember, Ray The Nihilist, go check out his music. And that's this episode of Talking Greatness. That's a wrap.
Cool.
Peace.
See ya.